or rather how learners, teachers and parents are equipped for the transition. And joining us in our studio for this discussion is Vanessa Inziani, who is the head of programs and partnerships at the Young Scientist Kenya. Welcome so much, Vanessa Inziani, for making time for us.
Thank you, Giverson.
And to start off, where should grade 9 learners select to pursue STEM courses? Why is this important for the young learners?
Yeah, so I believe that as Kenya shifts towards a knowledge-based economy, it will be important for us to have grade 9 learners as well as just the whole generation shift towards STEM courses. And this is just to help them become problem solvers, for them to become innovators and entrepreneurs in itself. Because as much as we focus more on university level for innovators, or for just where we can get young people to be able to shift the situation of our economy, it can start as early as the teenagers, as early as the younger students, because that is where you start getting your idea, you start getting your big vision of how you may want to live life. Yeah. And as much as everyone is now focusing more on just looking for a job, an 8 to 5, we need to start looking at the mindset whereby we can create jobs for ourselves, even as a country, especially now that we have more people graduating but not getting jobs. And I think that gap in itself is where we can start equipping young people for them to move the country forward.
And how do you get the young learners to select STEM courses? How do you encourage them to pursue that line?
Yeah, so I think the gap in itself at this point is that there's not much exposure, especially for those in the rural countries. They might not have access to infrastructure or even the internet. So for them to know what some of these careers entail is where the problem could be. Yeah. So as much as we want to transition, it will be a good thing for us to include mentorship as well, which I believe is everything. So that now the teachers and the parents can be able to guide the young students on how they can be able to get into these careers. What this means, and it's what some institutions like ourselves at Young Scientist Kenya are doing, is providing this career guidance and mentorship for them to know what is available and what they can be able to do. I'm sure before you got yourself in that seat, you did not, maybe you had not known what you can be able to do in media. Yeah. So I think most people just believe it's the camera person, or if it's yourself reporting, they don't know what it takes to be in studio. For example, whoever is leading us from the person you've been discussing, I don't know what space that is, but I think as they get more information on what is actually in these STEM careers, they can now be able to make better decisions for themselves.
This is going to be very huge in terms of education system in Kenya. It's the first time it's happening.
Yes.
Where, you know, learners go this way to STEM, others will go the arts direction. It's the first time. Maybe it's been happening in other countries, but for us here, it's the first time. Do you think the country is, is ready for this? Do you think the teachers are trained for this? The tutors, are they ready for this?
I think for the tutors, as much as we've seen a lot of news around how some of them are not ready or not equipped, I think what we can do as a country, and I believe CBC is not only government oriented, I think it's a national movement, and it requires all of us, both public and private institutions, to come together to just support this. And what we can do for teachers and tutors together is how we can equip them with some of these skills, how we can train them, how they can get access to some of these materials. For public and private institutions, they can offer trips, say, to their job places for job shadows, or for just for the students to understand what it means to be in some of these spaces. I think as we are able to expose some of these young people into what it means to get into some of these careers, and I think it will equip some of them and just motivate them to be able to want to take up STEM as a career pathway.
And your organization, such as Young Scientist Kenya, and even other organizations like yourself, how are you playing out? How are you helping, in this kind of transition? What is your role here?
Okay, so for Young Scientist Kenya, what we're trying to do is to see how we can get teachers equipped. So we have some programs on artificial intelligence for teachers, just for them to understand what the basics of that is. We have programs for coding, so we can see how we can equip students from even the marginalized areas in the country, what they can be able to do. We're big on inclusivity, so also special needs schools are also being trained on the same. We have an innovation program that we run whereby students can think outside the box. So in Kenya, what problems are we facing? How can we be able to get a solution to some of the problems we face, even in our own ushago areas for people just to know that we can be able to do this together. We also have partnerships that we work with partners who can help in giving students sometimes scholarships to pursue these STEM courses, so that even after they finish their education, they can be able to see what is next and not feel left out. And of course, this just helps with ensuring that the out-of-school youth can get some sort of motivation towards continuing with their lives.
If new organizations wanted to come in today to help, this kind of transition, to help the young learners decide whatever they want to become, whatever route they want to, to pursue, how do they come in?
So for partners, it's quite easy. We have a lot of areas where we can be able to work with these partners. Some can support us financially, others do that in kind. So in case you don't have the bandwidth or the capacity to be able to support to do the program on your own, we can come in and help with that implementation. So we can talk about like the coding programs or any other program that you feel would suit the teachers. We're also trying to ensure that with government as well, we are in line with whatever means and processes that they have put in place, just to ensure that we are moving together towards the 60% pick-up rate of the STEM courses. Additionally, if we can be able to equip a lot of schools do not have computer labs or do not have science labs. So if you can be able to help some of these schools to just get some of this equipment in, and then just to also train their teachers so that everyone can be ready and prepared for what is coming. I know in the past, speak for myself and those older than me, we are used to a textbook sort of setup. So you learn on the textbook and that is what you believe should be able to continue. But I think the younger ones are lucky because they get to put in practical hands-on learning, in that what you learn in the book, you can also be able to put it in place. So now it will be a bit practical and they'll be able to move forward. So with Young Scientists Kenya, I believe as we continue to grow, I think so far we've impacted about 250,000 students. So with more partners on board, I'm sure we can be able to reach more and more schools across the country.
Are there innovations that you've come across with, amongst the young learners you've interacted with?
Yes. So I think for the past 8 years, as we've been running the program, every year we normally hold a competition, and from the competition we've had some winners and some students who've been able to come out of it. We have students who have come up with their own CBOs, so they're currently leading in their communities on just ensuring that they can empower the girls or those who are coming from marginalized communities. We have those who have come up with what do we call this? Products that can be able to assist those with special needs. So we have one who has a robotic arm. We also have those who've come up with a system to see how we can reduce on fake news and cyber crimes. So it's just young people coming up with their own startups and how they can be able to just move forward and help the whole country move together.
And how can public and of course maybe private institutions help these young innovators to patent their own inventions and of course to commercialize them? Yeah,
so as mentioned, a lot of people believe commercialization is more around university level, and ideally some of these big ideas come from as early as high school and junior secondary school. So for partners, it will just be to ensure that the students have a place where they can be able to grow, so innovation hubs. We also have a situation whereby we can have the young people supported through IP protection. We're lucky enough to have a partnership with KIPI, who give our winning students free IP protection, given that their product or their ideas are new and can be able to be protected. With that, but we still need more people who can be able to support them. For example, with Kekobo, with the copyright, and just I would believe a national outreach on what it means to actually protect your ideas.
Yeah, because some of the interventions or innovations have been stolen away by people.
Yes.
And maybe how does the National Science and Technology Exhibition support innovation in Kenya?
So
briefly.
So with that, we try to see how we can give young people a platform to be able to showcase their innovations. We have guests from across the country, from both government, from international areas, and we just give them a week to be able to present their ideas. So with this, we also have parents coming, members of the public, so you can just be able to support your young ones as they come up with their ideas. And of course, they have a couple of awards that they win, so as it is competitive, they also try to see how they can learn from each other what they can do, because a project from Mandera would not be the same as a project from, say, Nairobi town, which is a metropolitan. So when they all come together, just for you to see how they interact, it's a good platform. And I think I'd advise anyone who's free during that week from the 5th to the 9th of August, you'll find us at Sunshine Schools, and you'll be able to interact with the students as they come up with their innovations.
In your interactions, you know, the Gen Zs, the millennials, now we have the Gen Alpha.
Yes.
How has been the rate of absorption on STEM courses, AI? Do they like it?
And
what is the difference between, you know, these generations? How are they taking it?
Yeah, so I think the biggest, or rather most intriguing bit is these different generations have had a different outlook or different life. So in their education systems, one, in their historical content, in their technological innovations during that time. So I can say for millennials and maybe baby boomers, for example, that is when they were just getting introduced to phones. For Gen Zs, and I think the lower end of the millennials and Gen Alphas, technology now is something that they live and breathe. So I think with all of these generations coming together, I think it gives a lot of opportunities for young people, because now everything is integrated with technology. Okay. So you can't just have, like for yourselves, I'm sure this is also running online. So it means that everyone is trying to align themselves with what is currently running digitally in the world. Okay. So the rate of absorption currently in the country, I think we'll be able to get this data as we get the first level of grade 9 learners picking their subjects. But however, if we look at what's happening around the world, it's still slow because most people still are not as conversant with what STEM is and what it really means to get into a STEM background. Okay. However, I think in the country, since we've studied it now, I think it will bring good tidings to us and how we can be able to move together as a country.
And lastly, there's going to be, you know, very huge difficulties or challenges in the transition, especially in the schools in the north, schools in Turkana, in Mandera, where there's no electricity in some of these schools. Yes. They don't have good classes, they don't have equipment, you know. It's going to be very difficult for this, for the transition. For those young learners outside there, how are they going to face it?
That's a good question, and I believe that it will need a lot of Kenyans for Kenya. So we do have those who are really left behind in the marginalized areas. We personally have Leave No Learner Behind at Young Scientists Kenya, which aims to really reach those who have been left in those far areas. I've seen parts of government trying to really ensure that they are included in majority of the programs that's possible. However, it will only mean that we can move together as a community if we come together. Okay. So what I mean by this is, like you've said, they don't have electricity. So some of the content is readily available online, just to give an offline perspective for them. If we can be able to equip their teachers so that they're also a step ahead as everyone else, so they can be able to ensure their students also get there. I think one of the most eye-opening moments for me was when we got a student from Mandera who came, and they were amazed that we have the expressway. And, you know, we're trying to explain to them that this is something, they're seeing it for the first time. So I think they used to seeing it on their phone only, but, you know, when you actually see some things, it becomes real for them. So I think a lot of exposure for some of these students, a lot of equipping their teachers as well, so that they're also as knowledgeable. I think we have Gen Zs who, when they feel you're not as informed as them, they don't seem to respect you. So it will be good for us to ensure that our teachers, our tutors are as informed as the Gen Zs, or even more, so that now they can be on the same level and we can be able to have the teachers on the front run for this.
Your closing remarks. We've run out of time.
No problem. So I think just to close, just to thank you again for having me here and having Young Scientists Kenya. We are happy to be supporting in ensuring that we can get STEM out there to support the parents and to support the teachers in how they can be able to support the young ones in choosing their STEM career pathways. And of course, lastly, in August from the 5th to 9th, please join us at Sunshine Schools. We'll be having an exhibition for the whole week. You can come interact with learners, you can come interact with people who are supporting young people, and you can be able to learn something. So it's open for everyone, it's free, and I hope to see you there, Givasa.
I'll try my best. Vanessa Inziani talking to us on matters of transition concerning the grade 9 learners who are expected to select any of the 3 academic pathways. Some of the learners, maybe they'll head to the STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. Others will have the option to go the social sciences way, and of course others will have to go the arts, sports, science under the KBC. And of course, Vanessa, thank you so much again for your time.
Thank you, Gerson.
And we take a short commercial break.